for coming, even you guys who are showing up at Ridiculously Rawthentic. I want to thank the Nature's Food Patch for allowing me this opportunity to come and speak to y'all. I'm going to be talking about the Rossiter System today. My name is Sarra. I am a certified personal trainer, certified nutrition coach, certified flexibility specialist, and of course, a Rossiter Level 2 certified professional. Surprise, surprise, this is me. So on top of being what I would like to consider a health and wellness professional, I also own and operate the Anytime Fitness on the corner of Bel Air and Highland. That is where I do the predominantly a lot of my nutritional coaching, my personal training, my Rossiter, and the flexibility. I can do Rossiter there. I can take Rossiter into your home, into my home, or at a neutral space should you have one. My aim is to heal the entire person because health is wealth, as we all know. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money you have, because if you don't have enough years to spend it, then what is the point? That is the thing you want to protect most of all. We've all learned that the hard way, I think, and so that is kind of my aim as a professional going forward, and that is why I'm here today. So now you know about me, but who cares about me? We're here to learn about the Rossiter System. So this young strapping gentleman is Richard Rossiter, the founder of the Rossiter System. He played every sport known to man growing up in, I'm gonna botch this, I think it's Kansas, but it's wrong. So he grew up in the United States somewhere, and he was an extremely active kid, played a lot of basketball because he was tall, one thing we do not share together. And then he was drafted into the Vietnam War, bless his soul, and he was a helicopter pilot, and he was really, 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 really good at it until he crashed a helicopter taking on enemy fire and absolutely destroyed his shoulder and his lower back and one of his hips, which caused him a lot of pain for almost the rest of his life. He's currently alive today. He lives in Colorado, where he continues to invent more and more Rossiter things. In 1983, after being completely fed up with being in so much pain, after trying pain management through pills, chiropractic, acupuncture, pretty much everything, the only thing that he actually was able to find that helped him was Rolfing, and that was very popular in the 80s and 90s. It was invented by Dr. Ida Rolf, and Rossiter actually went to her specifically to learn, and he became a Rolfer himself and Rolf for many, many years. He also worked in a factory because I don't know, I've never met a Rolfer personally, so I don't know how much they make, but it sounds as though he wasn't able to make a living at Rolfing. He was also working in a factory. Well, that factory made couches, and so he had a lot of pain. And so he thought, you know what? I need to do this Rolfing to myself in between shifts at work. So what he did is he laid down on the ground and he took the corner of a couch, he put it in his shoulder, and he started moving his arms in the Rolfing way to allow the couch to be the manual therapist for him. And all of a sudden it started to click. And then he had some of the other individuals who were working hunched over in the factory who also had pain. Surprise! And so what he started doing is he started acting as the couch. He was putting his elbow, he was putting his hands, he was putting his feet, he was putting other couches. He was teaching the other individuals bits and pieces of Rolfing to work in the factories that they would do because they got 2 15-minute breaks and 1 hour lunch. So during the 15-minute breaks and the hour lunch, they were healing each other in this factory, which I thought was fantastic. And then in 1990, he said, the heck with this. I'm inventing my own system because Rolfing is too intense. Rolfing is something where you go into a room and you hold your hands up over your head, and sometimes you actually suspend yourself from the ceiling. And then the manual therapist comes in and hits your different trigger points. Now, if I'm botching this, I do apologize for anybody who is a traditional Rolfer. I don't know everything about it, but that is what I do know. Rossiter is now worldwide. There's practitioners in over 19 countries throughout the world, but most of them are here in the United States. There are 4 of us in the state of Florida. 3 of them happen to be in Pinellas County. 1 of them is in Naples. So we are relatively accessible. So what is Rossiter? So I want everybody in the room, and you two following along at home, I want you to hold your hand up like this. I want you to grab yourself around the wrist, and then I want you to squeeze and make a fist, and then I want you to open your hand up, and then I want you to squeeze and make a fist, and then I want to open your hand up. Now, do you notice a profound difference in this hand as to your wrist when you squeeze and when you open. There's a little bit of space that's in there, and that happens with every single one of your joints. Your joints want space. And unfortunately, with all of the different things that we do on a day-to-day basis, your muscles become either tight or inflamed based on food choices, activity choices, things like that. And so what Rossiter is to create flexibility, but in the joint capsule itself. So the idea is it's just like a bed sheet, and everybody has struggled with that fitted bed sheet, and boy is that annoying if you're doing it by yourself. But what you do is you put one corner on, and then you pull it away. Now with Rossiter, this is the part where it gets a little interesting. I use my feet. So I make sure to splurge on some very expensive socks, and I wash them regularly. And so what an individual does is they lay down and they tell me where they have pain, for example. So as you'll see in our demonstration in a little bit, if you have shoulder pain, for example, I will put my heel in the corner of your shoulder and have the PIC, they're called the PIC, the person in control, because at the end of the day, you as the client or patient, you're in control of what I do. I'm just helping you get through it. So what we're doing is we're trying to extend those muscles, putting the bed sheet over the corner and pulling it wider so you can create more space. The more space that there is in your joints, the better that you can move. Because as we all know, your body is always trying to get into homeostasis. Your body cannot get into homeostasis in your wrist and your shoulder if your elbow is off. So if you have more space in your wrist, more space in your elbow, more space in your shoulder, your whole arm can now be in homeostasis. And that is the idea behind Rossiter. So if you happen to have carpal tunnel, tennis elbow, golf elbow, somewhere in here, you put your arm on the ground, you're laying completely down. I step just below your elbow, you open and close your hand. So that one corner of the bed sheet is where I would put my foot, and then you're extending your fingers, extending your wrists, extending your arms away, pulling the rest of the bed sheet away so you can put the entire bed sheet on so that your body can be in homeostasis. Now, I'm terrible at analogies. Does that make any sort of sense?
No, made perfect.
All right, solid. Would you look at that? So as I was saying before, to do all of this, I use my feet, and that kind of weirds a few people out. As I was explaining before, I can take Rossiter and the modalities of it into your home. We can do it in the office at my gym. We can do it on my gym floor. We can do it at my house, your house, neutral space, out there in the parking lot, on the roof of this building. It does not matter because all we actually need is me, you, this mat, and those two sticks, because if I'm stepping on you, I don't want to fall over on top of you. So I have two hiking sticks, but I do take my shoes off. So before I move forward, does anybody have any questions? You at home? No? Okay. Yeah, all right. So that is what the Rossiter system is in a nutshell. So a lot of individuals will ask me, can I do this at home? Can I do this for myself? And the answer is both yes and no. So, for example, as I explained with the shoulder example, so let's say, we all, at this day and age, everybody talks about text neck, and they talk about computer shoulder, things like that. Whether you read, whether you're on your tablet, whether you're watching Netflix, it does not matter. Everybody is hunched over. We have this kyphotic posture right here. And so we all want to be right here, but oftentimes we've been doing this since the late 70s, and at this point, doing this isn't going to do very much for us. So because of that, what we do with Rossiter, and this will be the demonstration that I show you in a moment, is you want to put pressure right here in what's called the hole in your shoulder. So if you lift your arm up like this and you reach around, you put one of your fingers into your pit and you put your thumb right over top of it as if you were about to make a link, that is the hole in your shoulder. And so if you can put pressure in that area, so for a lot of individuals, you might have like a cabinet, or you may have something that's about your height right here. And if you can put pressure into it, just like this, and then extend your arm up and out, what you're doing is you're stretching that pec from origin up to insertion, and you're opening that up and bringing it up and over your head, and you can get a little bit of relief in that way. Another one that you can do is they make either a lacrosse ball or a tennis ball, or you could use a golf ball if you're really aggressive. And then what you would do is you would put it, and I don't know if you guys can see me, but I'm going on the ground. And what you would do is you would put that lacrosse ball right into your cheek, and you would lean over top of it like this, slide your knee up here, roll it into the cross ball, and extend it straight out. By putting that pressure in that area with that ball and then moving your joint through the range of motion, you're extending your hip flexors and your gluteus maximus across and extending it forward. So wherever the pressure point is, that is the one end of the fitted sheet. And wherever you move your normal joint through its range of motion, that is pulling the rest of the sheet. So, everyone, this is Sydney. Sydney is my beautiful model. We are going to show you a demonstration of me doing Rossiter on the hole in her shoulder, as it was, as I explained earlier. So Sydney, if you could do me a huge favor, I want you to stand front and center, put both arms over your head. So, as you can probably tell, Sydney's been to the gym once or twice. She really likes to lift weights. She's really good at it too. And so, most of the time when individuals put their hands up over their head, your bicep should be not even centimeters from your ear. She has a little bit of space, as you can see, from her bicep to her ear. So what we're gonna do, just a little off.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have her lay down.
Coming back?
Yes, absolutely, please. Sydney and I might know each other, and so I already know roughly her background history, you know, if she's physically fit to be able to do this. A lot of things that you and I, should you call me to do this procedure, would we would get to know each other a little bit. So, to begin, are you comfortable?
Yes.
Absolutely. So what we need to do is we need to get into the lock. So what you're going to do is, Sydney, I'm going to have you point both toes directly to the sky, almost towards your forehead. Perfect. And then what I want you to do is take your chin, and I want you to slide it nice and slow over to your right. Good, just like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a little bit of pressure, a little bit of weight from my heel into the hole in your shoulder. And I'm going to have you sweep your elbows straight back. Excuse me, I'm going to have you sweep your hands along the ground, straight up, and then when you get to the top in the T, you're going to take your palms and you're going to move them back towards the back of the room, okay? All right, so let me know when the weight is appropriate. Now, usually I'm a little more elevated, but of course I did forget my elevation today, so this will be a little bit lighter than what I would normally do. Now, with Rossiter, they call these workouts because they're a little bit more than a stretch, a little bit less than an intense workout, but they are called Rossiter workouts, each different technique. There are techniques for your shoulder, your back, your lower back. I actually worked with an 88-year-old woman. She had 2 sessions with me. She had lower back pain for 10 years. 2 35-minute sessions. She hasn't had pain in almost 6 months. I've been working with a 28-year-old individual. He's had sciatica since he was 16. We've now done 13 sessions. He hasn't had sciatica in almost 2 months. This is an extremely powerful, yet kind of too good to be true almost when you see what I'm about to do with Sydney here. But it is extremely helpful. I've helped multiple people with tennis elbow, multiple people with carpal tunnel, and one young lady who had plantar fasciitis no longer has plantar fasciitis, even though she suffered with it for almost 2 years. 2 years! In your foot! You need that every day. Okay, anyway, I digress. Okay, so let me know when the weight is appropriate. Breathe in and out. Turn your chin to the right. Perfect. Okay, awesome. Go ahead and slowly sweep your hands up. Awesome. Keep going. Stop right there. Twist your palms to the back of the room. Keep going. Breathe in. Awesome. Good. Put your hands back at your sides. Awesome. Go ahead and turn your palms to the ceiling. So we also have to hit it from different angles. So she started with her palms down on the ground. Now she's going to start with her palms directly to the ceiling. Okay, still comfortable?
Mm-hmm.
Chin to the right, toes to the sky. Yes, ma'am. Breathe in. And awesome. Go ahead and sweep them up. You're doing wonderfully. Keep going. Don't you give up on me. Doing great. Good. Palms to the back of the room. Come on. Especially on that left side. Come on. Lift it up. Beautiful. Go ahead and rest. Okay. Now this last thing we're going to do is called the big rocker. Okay. So you're going to keep your palms at your sides, hands down. You're going to sweep up just like you did the first Still hanging on over there? Go ahead and breathe in. Chin to the right. Beautiful. Awesome. You're doing wonderfully. Just keep breathing in through your nose. Up through your mouth. Yes, man. Yes, man. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Turn your palms to the back of the room. Good. Awesome. Slide your heels up. Good. And let your knees fall to one side.
Doesn't matter what side?
Nope.
Oof.
There you go.
I feel that.
Better. And then the other side. Yes, ma'am. Good. Keep your chin to the right. Breathe in. Legs back to center. Beautiful. Okay. A little round of applause for our. All right. Now, Sydney, you can stand up for me. Awesome. Now go ahead and face the crowd. And I want you to put your hand up above your head. So if you can see, the space that's right here is a little bit wider than the space that's over here.
Did it change? It did.
Yeah.
It was already closer than the other side before, but now it's even closer.
It's noticeably different. So as you can see, it is relatively effective in as little as one treatment. And altogether, thank you so much, you can see that, I appreciate it. That was about 6 minutes. So the average Rossiter session can last anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour, depending on how much the individual can take. More often than not, Rossiter practitioners ask that you sign up for about 4 to 8 sessions to start. Just because you can see results in as little as one session, but we want to make sure we knock everything out because we're human and we're not robots, and so we usually have more than one pain and we usually have more than one ache. So usually I'm going to be working on your shoulder, your carpal tunnel from typing at your desk job, as well as your lower back, because chairs are technically not ergonomically designed. We're not supposed to sit that way. We're technically supposed to sit like this, but I digress. That's for my next PaTcHwOrKs talk. Now here's the other thing though. You buy 8 sessions, but you came for your lower back, and your lower back feels better after 6 sessions. I'm refunding that money. I'm here to help you. This is not something that I do to make all kinds of cash and jump out of a Lamborghini and say, what's up with Rossiter? I'm just very excited to be able to help individuals. I want to thank you all so much for listening to me yammer on. As I said before, my gym, where I do the majority of this work, is located at the LaBelle Plaza on the corner of Highland and Bel Air in Clearwater. I believe this is still 33756, correct me if I'm wrong, so I think we're in the same zip code. That is all of my contact information should you want to find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, email, or phone. Please feel free to take a picture of that should you choose. Now that you've seen almost all of it in action, do you have any other questions for me? I'm that good? Wow, that's... Well, so that is Rossiter. As I said before, it's a 2-person stretching system because very often we don't want to push it as far as we need to push it. We don't necessarily know where we want to stretch or what specifically needs to be stretched. And so it's good to have somebody who has a little bit of the knowledge to be able to do that for you. The other thing with Rossiter is it also can be done in a very short amount of time. As you can see, it wasn't completely physically demanding. So it's not something you do once a month or once a week. It's something that you would do. You buy those 4 sessions from me, you're probably going to get them all done in 10 days. You know what I mean? You're going to come every other day. You might come Monday, Tuesday, take Wednesday off, come Thursday, Friday. We'll meet again on Monday, and then you're done. It's something that can be done in a really short amount of time. It's also something that can be done for maintenance. You know, that 88-year-old woman whom I have talked about, she comes every 3 months. She gets 1 session just to make sure she doesn't get that lower back pain, because who in the world wants lower back pain? It's something that can be done, as I said, with yourself at home, but more often than not, you want it to be done with a certified professional. And I think at this point, I'm just repeating myself. So yes, ma'am.
My question is what other areas, could you give us another example?
Yeah, absolutely. So there is anything in your arms, so wrists, elbows, shoulders, and then there is quads, hamstrings, calves, hips. Those are all usually predominantly for lower back. And then there's different things that I can help with, such as tension headaches. But of course, I would step on your shoulder because your body is synergistic. and the homeostasis that I was talking about before. Your head sits on your neck sits above your shoulders, and so to work on your lower back, the number one thing that I work on is your quads. But that helps with your lower back. Also, I step on the IT band, adductors, abductors, and that is for your transverse abdominis, frontal area here, because once this is stronger, as every single MD on the planet tells people with low back pain, get your abs stronger, your lower back will be better. So I strengthen your hips to make this stronger, so your lower back can be strong, etc. Let's see. Is there anything in particular you were looking for? Because I'm not as Johnny on the spot as I should be.
Well, I have some particular spots on my back that are bothering me, but I was actually asking as far as, could you show us another demonstration?
Sure,
of how
yeah,
you do that?
absolutely. So Sydney, if I can have you right back up. So not everything is lying on the ground. Some things are also seated. So very often after we do the hole in the shoulder, next will come the traps, as I mentioned before, the tension headaches, things like that. And so let me have you put your arms. Now I would not use a chair with arms, but invention is necessity is the mother of invention. So I would, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on her traps right in here. And so I do this personally. This isn't something that Rossiter talks about, but usually what I'll do is I will start with a little bit of manual therapy, start with a little light finger massage on her traps to find out where the biggest knots are. You guys probably see her wincing a little bit. I'm finding it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the lower part of my elbow into her trap, and after the weight is appropriate, Sydney, I'm going to have you turn your head about 50% of the way. Yep, and then you're going to look down at the ground. Then you're going to look back at eye level, down at the ground, back at eye level. Then you're going to look 100% away. Good. And you're going to look down at the ground, and then we're going to do a little PNF. I'm going to push against your head. Then you're going to pull your head even further away, and you're going to look back up. So being a flexibility specialist, another thing, as I was saying before, everything is in the light of all of the knowledge that I have. So proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation is a really strong flexibility thing that a lot of flexibility specialists will use, and so I'm going to use that with this one. My elbow being here is one corner of the bed sheet. Her moving her head away is another corner of the bed sheet. When you go to stretch something, when you reach down and touch your toes, what eventually makes you stop is what's called your GTO, your Golgi tendon organ. And that stops because technically you could keep bending until you bend over backwards in your Gumby, but your body stops you because it knows that you don't want to snap anything. But if you bend down and your body tells you to stop, and then you come back up just a little bit, contract your hamstrings for 3 to 5 seconds, and then go to reach again, you can get a little bit further in that stretch. So we're gonna add that into what Sydney and I are doing so that she can pull that bed sheet a little bit farther away from my elbow, okay? So, palms at your sides. Thank you, good. Good posture, throw your shoulders back, yes ma'am. Good, go ahead and breathe in. Let me know when the weight is appropriate.
Yeah, it's good.
Awesome. Go ahead and look away. Good. Look down. Good. Look up. Awesome. Down again. Good. Back up. Good. 100% away. Good. Look all the way down at the ground. Good. Look further. Look further down at the ground for me. Good. Now push into my hand. Push into my hand. 1. Push into my hand. 2, 3, and 4. Now pull your head further away. Towards the ground. Pull your head further away. Further away. Okay, look up, back to center, and breathe. Sydney, how did that make you feel?
It's a really big relief because I have a lot of I really do hold a lot of stress in my neck and my traps, and so when he does that, it's a way that it can be stretched that I cannot do myself, physically can't. So when he does that, I just feel, obviously it's not going to get rid of it 100% with the work he just did, but if I were to have him do that a couple times a day, it feels absolutely amazing.
So most of the time
So
when
it
we
feels
do this stretch up here in the traps, I'll do about 2 or 3 sets of it, just because most individuals can take it, and it is beneficial to do about 2 or 3 times. So that definitely helps with the scalenes. It definitely helps with your SCM, sternocleidomastoid, a lot of these tight muscles that are in here that come from the From the head being too far forward,
Right,
from
right.
sitting at a computer,
Right.
from looking down at a tablet or a cell phone. And so that one is probably the one I do the most, if I'm honest. So that's another modality that we do in Rossiter, as well as, and then another, probably one of the biggest ones that I do accomplish is the hamstrings, because thank you, Cindy, you can say anything.
I would love to see you demonstrate that,
Okay,
because that just in itself, I'd like to see the
Sure, sure, sure,
method utilized.
Sure, absolutely. So from your lower back to the tips of your toes is what's called the posterior chain. So your lower back, your hips, your knees, your ankles, and even the metatarsals in your toes, they're all synergistically connected. And so if one of them is a little bit lighter, the rest can be lighter. Yes, ma'am?
Do you typically do both sides when you're doing a treatment, or?
Yes, we're only doing one side today because it's a demo. I will get
Otherwise, I would have asked him to do the other side.
I will get the whip cracked at a later hour today to do the other side, so she's evened out. But if you could go ahead and lay on your tummy.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Now, most of the time with my personal training and things like that, there is a lot of warm-up, there's a lot of stretching and things like that. But this is the warm-up, this is the stretching. So usually you can come in relatively cold. Usually I have my clients kind of move their joints through a range of motion first before I have them lay down, but it's not necessary whatsoever. So for the hamstring, what we're gonna do is I usually begin by palpating. So I try and find where the adhesions are the most. So I start up at the top and work my way down. And as with all things, I tend to listen, because usually there's a little bit of a, or a, oh, usually right in there, usually there's an uncomfortable laugh. And that's how I know that I'm getting close. But I'm sure if you guys have talked to individuals before, the foot has more nerve endings on it than the hands or the face. So I can feel a lot of adhesions through my foot, through this very thick sock. Regardless, so Sydney does have a lot of tightness right in here. So Sydney, let me know when the weight is appropriate.
That's good.
Awesome. Okay, so what I'm gonna have you do is I'm gonna have you bring your heel all the way up, as high as you can bring it. Good, point your toe to the ground. Good, slide it up, slide it up, slide it up, slide it up. Awesome. Nope, even higher, even higher, even higher. Perfect. Okay, so now what I'm gonna have you do is you're gonna wiggle it left to right as you slowly lower it to the ground. All the way up, in, all the way out, all the way in. Beautiful, all the way out, nice and slow. Good, you're doing wonderfully. Yep, bring that all the way down. Good, as soon as your toe taps, I want you to bring your heel right back up to the top. Oh, I know, you poor thing. Go ahead and wiggle. Nice, nice, nice. This is so great. This is so great. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Good, and rest. Nope, you can go ahead and rest. And then what I would normally do, which I'm gonna go ahead and do now, is I'd move about 1/4 of an inch down. Because as I palpated down closer to her knee, she had even more tightness. So I will go ahead and bring that heel up. Beautiful, nice and slow. And wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. You're doing wonderfully, you're doing wonderfully. Keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. Good, and as soon as your heel taps, or excuse me, your toe taps, bring that heel right back up. Yes, 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 and wiggle. Wiggle.
One more time.
And wiggle. Nope, we're just gonna do twice.
Oh.
Beautiful. And rest. Now, that is often done for pain in the knee and pain in the ankle, kind of working its way down. And usually, there's a lot of things that go hand in hand. So normally after a hamstring, I would then work on the calves, which comes from a chair. And I would also need to be standing on the chair. You kind of want to be at same level, so I would not be able to show that one today. Just trust me out there in the Facebook world. There is a calf stretching. Go ahead and stand up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And that can also be done to help with the lower back because the hamstring is connected to both. Yes.
Felt great.
Yeah. Is there anything else I can do for you folks today? Awesome. Again, I thank you so very much. If you do have about 2 to 3 minutes, I do want to hear from you on that. I would like to make this presentation again, maybe in the fall or maybe next year for other individuals who might want to hear about Rossiter. So right, wrong, or indifferent, good, bad, or ugly, fill out those sheets. So I know not to say the word anymore, so I know not to repeat myself 3-4 times, and to not use such an offensive orange during the PowerPoint presentation. But thank you guys so much. Give yourselves a round of applause for making it out here on your Sunday, which should mostly just be full of relaxing.
So how much do the sessions run?
Yes, so I sell it in packages. If you buy just one-off session just to try it, it's $45. But that is literally until we're done. So if that goes 70 minutes, it's 70 minutes. If it goes 120 minutes, it goes 120 minutes. It's $45 no matter what. The more sessions you buy, so let's say you buy that package of 8, each session is $30. You know, if you buy more up front, you don't lose it. You don't sign a contract with me, so you have to do all 12 sessions or what have you. But somewhere between about $45 to $30 per session.
So if somebody has issues in a number of areas like shoulders and low back and things like that, would you work on all areas at one time, or you kind of determine which is a priority and deal with that? Or?
So we start with the priority, and we go as long as they can handle. Eventually, it's kind of like
first session, or would you? Okay.
Yeah. So the first session is always going to be a little longer, just because we're going to sit down. I'm going to get to know you. You're going to get to know me. See if this is a comfortable fit. Because there's another thing. Before I take any dollars or cents from you, if you get any sort of uncomfortability or this is not for you, you leave before you pay me a dime. And vice versa. I want to make sure that this is something that's going to help you, because this might be outside my scope of practice. So first session is always start with 25 minutes of just sitting down and just chit-chatting. And then from there we will move into prioritizing pain. And you know, when you've completed all 4 sessions of Rossiter, I'm halfway through. I've only got the first 2 levels. Once you've been minted as having all 4 certifications, they call you a pain slayer, because you literally slay pain like a dragon. And so then what we'll do is we'll go as long as you can handle it, you know what I mean? And what I might do is I might work in a circle. So your main pain is your upper back and your neck, right? So we'll work on your whole in your shoulder, we'll work on your traps, I'll work a little bit on your bicep, and then we'll start over again. We'll go back to your shoulder, back to your trap, back to your bicep, until it's kind of like a hot pepper festival. It's like eventually everybody loses because you're just sweating and your eyes are tearing up. And once we hit that point and that little get deeper and deeper and more guttural, it's time to go. But it'll last as long as it needs to. You know, but then at the same time, there might be one where you're going home and you're touching your toes and you're moving and you're grooving and you're shaking. You come in, it's 10 minutes, you're in, out, and on with life, and I don't see you for 4 weeks. And that's okay as well. Cool. So again, thank you guys so much. You've been a wonderful crowd. Thank you out there.
Appreciate
Thank you, Lana. I appreciate
Great
it.
information.
Yes, I would. I will be back for
Let
more.
us know if you have tried this system. Say bye, Dad. See you later.